I'm MyLeah, and this is MyLeah's Cuppa Books, and this is a bookish chat all about the one question that's been on my mind. Why is it so hard to find clean books to read right now? If you're wondering it too, then stick around and let's get right into today's video. The thing about being a clean reader is that sometimes it's super hard to find books that are clean. I think for me, I was actually just talking to my sister about this. We do a buddy read almost every month. We try to do it every month, and we're actually just getting back into it after a little bit of a break because we've been busy. But the idea is we've been looking for books. We'll look and we'll think that we found something, and then there was even one time or maybe a couple times when we picked up a book and we were like, oh, this is so cute. It's a romance. It's going to be great. It's popular. And then we got into it and we were like, why is it spicy? Like, why do we have all these scenes that we're not looking for in them? And we found ourselves skipping scenes in the book. And I've done that too before. And I just got to the point where I'm like, I'm tired of skipping scenes. Like, I'm tired of skipping chapters and pages in books. Like, where are the books that are cute and cozy and romantic, but also no spice? Like, you have all the romance stuff that you want. You have the meet cute and the tropes. You know, you have the longing and all of that, but you don't have just a bunch of basically sex on page. And people like to say that sex sells, but I think that there is a market for clean books. We need more of them, but the good thing is there is more of them. I think sometimes it's hard to find, and I will say that I think that some clean books are hard to find because, one, of course, sex sells. There are a lot of spicy books, even if they have those kinds of covers that look like, oh, it looks like a cute rom-com, but it's like super spicy and you weren't expecting that. All of those books a lot of times are like super popular. And so it's sort of hard because in our culture, I think we just have a ton of books that are being promoted that are just the opposite of what I would think clean means. And then sometimes I will say this, I don't know if you've had this issue, let me know down below in the comments, but I've also had the issue that sometimes when I'm looking for a book and I'm looking for something specific, like a clean romance with Black main characters, you know, something cozy, something cute, maybe it's set in a small town or certain specific things, but then I'll look up the book that I'm looking for, or like the type of book. I may put in like Black romance, Christian, like I may put in keywords on Google or on like YouTube or Book Talk, something like that. And sometimes I'll find videos or posts that'll say like, oh, these books are clean. And then I'll look at I'll go like sort of doing like a little deep dive because I'm like, okay, let me search a little bit. Let me make sure this is clean. So then I'm, poking around to different posts and different things about the book. And then even this actually happened to me. This has happened, I think, probably a couple times, multiple times. But I remember looking up one book and I thought that it was actually, I'm going to say this book because I mentioned it in a video because I thought it was clean. And this will show you that sometimes basically clean to one person is not clean to another. And that's basically my point. But all that to say is one book that this really happened to me with is called August Lane. And I was looking for like a cute, maybe dramatic Black country romance. I was like, yes, this is going to be so fun. Like, I'm excited to see what this is about. And I researched it online and it said a lot of posts were like, oh, this is clean. It's sweet. It's Black romance. But what they were saying was clean was discounting a lot of things like language. As soon as I started listening to the audiobook, and there was a lot of language in this book where I was like, well, right away it was just a lot of cursing. And personally, I'm like, look, I don't need that. I don't think that it needs to be like I don't think it needs to be in the book, period. And especially it's on every page. And now I'm like, okay, or almost every page, like from what I'm listening to, I'm like, well, this is a bit much. And then, okay, y'all. So like I'm listening to it. I'm like, wait, this is not clean. And I just recommended it to people because I put it on my list as a book that I was looking for because it supposedly, based off of the research that I did, fit categories of being clean. So then that made me think about just so many things. For one, I will say this, not bashing that book or that author. because I will say I went to the author's website after the fact that I had started reading it and realized maybe this is not for me. And I think the author did feature trigger warnings like on their website. And I remember thinking that's great, because that is something also I think a lot of people do not consider when it comes to, is this book clean or not? And I think it should be considered. I think language, I think explicit scenes with sex, language, or other things going on, you should be able to consider those things, and even things that may be considered trauma in any way. I think you should be able to say, oh, maybe that is a trigger warning for me and this is not clean. And I think more authors should do that, should put it maybe in the book, on their website. I think readers too, I think we should learn how to share that information a little bit more. But I also get it, it's like, this may not be a trigger for you. Maybe what's clean to you isn't clean to me, and vice versa. But I think that if you're here and you're watching this or you're listening to this, that you're probably somebody who's like, hey, you are looking for cleaner books. You're tired of kind of opening a book and being shocked and being like, what is this? And you wanted to love it, but now you're like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? LOL, just like my voice just did like a little wave there. You feel like that. And I'm tired of it too. So I think that what I would like to do as well is I want to give some tips on what I've been learning with picking up books and sort of doing a better job at being like, how to find a clean book, especially when it comes to romance, how to find a clean romance as a clean reader. And if you're like me too, you're not just a clean reader, but you are a Christian reader as well. So let's get into those tips. For starters, I think from a reader perspective, looking at how you search for books can really change the kind of books that you're finding. For me, I would sometimes just walk into a bookstore, walk into a library, and be like, ooh, that cover is cute. Ooh, I love that. I'm looking for a thriller. I'm looking for a romance. I'm looking for, I'm looking for this kind of book, especially for a romance. I'm like, hey, so I'm a Black Christian romance author, and I write no spice romance, of course. And so I'm like, I'm going into a library or a bookstore trying to have a bookish moment, and I'm looking for more books like the books that I write, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I would love to read for more inspiration, to just see like Black characters in love, and I want to see more of that. But sometimes I would pick up books like The Neighbor Favor, and people would promote this one a lot and be like, oh, it's clean, or they would be like, it's cozy, it's sweet, like certain language. I think that sometimes, and not just this book specifically, that I would see online or in different, like it may be a short form video, and I'm like, oh, this is great, people are talking about this all the time. Or they're talking about it in such a way where maybe they're not necessarily giving triggers, or they're not giving certain things that may be going on in this book. Or in like The Neighbor Favor, I think it's a series, and I read that series, and I remember this was during a time where I was looking for more Black romance books, and I wasn't really sure, like, how do you kind of figure out like clean, not clean, like I don't know, like I'm just looking it up online, going based off of book reviews and what are people saying about these books. And so I think, again, sometimes the language that other readers are using to describe these books may not always talk about like the triggers that you may have as a clean reader, or the boundaries you may have as a clean reader. And I think that us as clean readers, now that we're here, we're in this space, in this community together, we're learning how to acknowledge those boundaries for ourselves, how to know like, hey, actually, I'm not looking for that. And so with the tip that I'm giving, right? So I think what I would say, something I've learned, is not going into book searching blindly. Like, I know we want to have bookish days. We want to just go and look around sometimes and see what we can find. And I think I would say this. So if you're going to go and do like a bookish day at the library or at a bookstore, right? I would say sometimes I do this. I'll pull up like the library website on my phone, and before I walk to the library or get a ride to the library, I will do a quick search for like certain books, like if it's a Christian romance book, I'll search that up, or a Christian author that I really like, or a clean romance author, something like that. And I'll search them up and see if there are any books by them at the library that I haven't read, or any similar books. So that really helps. I think you can do probably a similar thing with a bookstore, just depending on how their search engine works on the bookstore website. And I also think what you can do is, when you go to these places, when you go to the library and the bookstore, you can see if they have a certain section. You can see if they have a Christian fiction section, right? You can see if they have that, because if they do have that, then most likely they may have different genres within that in that section. And LOL, as I'm trying to describe this, I'm like, I can just picture it. And so, like, you never know. I would say ask questions too, because sometimes, maybe they have Christian fiction, but they don't have a lot of genres. So I think maybe walk in, ask them if they have a Christian fiction section, whether it's at the library or bookstore, even though they're set up a little differently. I would say a lot of times, same thing, books are sort of set up by genres, and you can sort of ask those questions. And sometimes they may not have a lot for like Christian fiction, but I would say that is probably one of the safest bets if you're looking for more clean fiction. Though, this is my next tip, I think we should also be careful how we're recommending Christian fiction, because for one, and I actually really like this book, I read Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, one of probably the most popular, I think, Christian romance book, especially as a historical Christian romance book, and it was really good. I personally, when I read it, I was like, first of all, this book, I thought for like the longest time, I was like, oh, it's going to be clean and it's going to be like, I don't know. I was just thinking it was going to be so romantic. And of course, it's inspired by a story from the Bible with Hosea and Gomer. So you have certain things going on there if you're familiar with that story. But I was also just like, one thing that I expected, because the way that people hyped it up, I was like, oh, it's going to be this way. It's going to be clean. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be like, Jesus loves you, and then I read it and I was like, wait a minute. Now, this book is definitely giving God loves you. But the story of these characters, if you're familiar with that biblical story that it's based off of course, and I knew this already because I've already read the story. I've read this in the Bible. But for some reason, when I went into this, because of the way that people talk about it, I'm thinking like, oh, like I just had one image in my mind. And when I went into it, I was like, oh, like this is like, there's stuff going on, and I have to like keep this in mind when I'm recommending it to people, because like when I'm talking about books with my sister, who I read books with often, I'm like, hey, this book was good, really good, but it's going to deal with some things. You're going to have some explicit things going on that may be said or hinted at because of the lifestyle of the main character. It's a lot going on. And you know what? I'm not saying that book was bad or anything. I actually enjoyed the book, but I just wish that people had talked about it a little bit more, saying like, hey, by the way, like maybe this book is clean, but maybe not something I would recommend to maybe a younger person, like a teenager. Maybe I would recommend it with a conversation, or with, hey, a warning of like, hey, by the way, certain things may be happening. Or to somebody who's expecting it to be a certain type of Christian romance book, hey, this is actually going to be a little heavier. And so it's things like that. I think we don't always talk about the nuances in clean. Like, what does that look like? What does that mean? And I think for me, especially as a Christian reader and as a Christian writer, I think about those things and how I'm picking up a book, how readers are going to engage with the book. And also like, hey, keeping certain things in mind, like, will somebody pick this up and be triggered by it, or you don't know, because maybe you're not dealing with those things. But I think, again, just kind of keeping certain things in mind. I think, again, clean is I think it's simple, but also layered. And I think that as readers, especially, we have to start thinking about those things when we are looking for books that we want to read. Not that we can't read what we love. I think we definitely can, but I think we just have to be a bit more particular about how we search for those books. Also, to add a little bit more of a perspective as a writer, which I kind of hinted at just a little bit, is that for me, I think when I approached writing clean Christian romance books, I really wanted a specific kind of book. Like, I'm writing, so I have a series right now. I have book 1 is already out. It's called Ceaselessly Yours, and it is a contemporary, sweet, cozy, small town romance that is inspired by The Great Gatsby. And I was thinking about, the trope in this one is second chance. I'm like, what book? Because I'm writing book 2 right now. So long story short, it's it's really cute. It's like childhood. They were childhood friends, and then they like grew apart and things happen. But it's inspired by The Great Gatsby, which, if you know that story, you're gonna have like drama and like lovers being reunited, and like, what does that mean? And then you throw in faith. You've got Jesus stuff going on in there, and these two black characters that believe in Jesus and have their own lives going on, and it's, oh gosh, it's just so fun. It's so fun. It's dual POV. You have this small town and all this drama, and like, you have the guy who is Jay Gatsby, he's a writer, and then you have Nick Carraway, who is sort of also a writer, but also working in a bookstore, and like, they're on two different sides of like living their dreams, and like, life is not going the way that they thought it would be, and they kind of come back together, and it's like, hey, things are happening, we're different, what's going on? And it is literally like such a relatable story, I think. And so all that to say is, describing that story as being like the first one in my series, and really being intentional even about like the story that I was using for this. I love the story of The Great Gatsby, and it's not a retelling, it is really like inspired by, because the thing about this series is I'm using like a classic story inspiration for each love story, and each friend in the series gets a love story. So, oh my gosh, so cute. So Nick and Jay are the first ones. And I love that, again, when I was writing this series, I was very intentional about, okay, like, tropes I'm going to be using, how I'm going to be using them. Like this one, the first one's a second chance romance. The second book is Ardently Yours, inspired by Pride and Prejudice. That one is going to be out soon, so stay tuned. And that one has more of like this slight rivals to lovers, but also they're like friends. And so it's like this, they're working together, things are going on. You've got, you just got so much going on. He actually, so in that book, he works for her. And so it's like, wait a minute. So he works for her. They're friends. It's like they're also sort of rivals, because he's the new baker in town and she owns the town's cafe. And she's Lizzie Bennett, because in Pride and Prejudice, hello. And he's Will Darcy. And I'm just like, guys, okay. So all that, you see how I'm smiling. Like, I love these characters, these stories. And that's the kind of thing. That's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for, a lot of times, a Christian romance to read, but also to write. It's like stuff that you love, stuff that makes you smile, stuff that makes you feel like this is cozy, this is cute, and black characters and characters that love Jesus, and faith in the book that doesn't feel preachy. And it's just like, I love that. I love it. I love feeling like the small town, like, oh, I love this. I can see this. Like, I can see these characters. I love all of that. It's so much fun for me to be a reader and a writer, because now I'm like, oh, like, I know what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a book to read. I'm not always looking for the same book to read, but I feel like these are the ones that I'm drawn to most, and the ones that I really love to write. And so I think for me, just being really specific about like, okay, this is the story. The story's not watered down because I'm a Christian, right? These stories, as you can see, like, I'm smiling and I'm talking about them because I'm like, oh, I'm so excited and this is fun, because that's how it feels. And I want readers to be able to feel that way. So when you pick up these books, you know that you're getting cozy, sweet romance, but you also know that you're getting drama. You know that you're getting certain tropes. You know that it's also not going to have spice. But I am a firm believer of, and I have to say it with my chest, apparently, but I'm a firm believer of writing romance that has no spice, but is very compelling and very much like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. Like, oh my gosh, my heart. Like, literally, you want these couples to end up together, and you're rooting for them, and you're like low-key praying for them. You're like, God, make it work, because they love Jesus, or they're growing in their relationship with God, and you're watching them grow as individuals and grow together. And it just feels so real, and it feels so fun and romantic. Like, you're getting all of that. So I love being able to write those kinds of stories. And again, I think sometimes people think they're boring. They think that there's only one kind of clean romance out there, or it's only like a certain kind, like it's like no black people are in the books, or there's, you know what I mean? It's just, I think people think like, oh, and this is this kind of person, and not a lot of representation, and not a lot of this and not a lot of that. And I'm like, hey, actually, I think that if you like Toni Shiloh, love Toni Shiloh, if you love her books, especially like her, I think she mostly writes contemporary romance books. I've read a few of her contemporary romance books, like Hearts on the Fly was a really good one. She has another contemporary series that I really love, where also like it has like interconnected friendships, and love that. Love it, love it, love it. And I think if you like those kinds of books, the cozy black romance with Christian, like, again, Christian characters, Christian values, no spice, but also faith, how it's in the books, I feel like it's so natural. And that was important to me. Like, those are the types of things that I love to use in my books. And so again, it doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be preachy. It doesn't have to be in your face, like, hitting people with the Bible, but it also doesn't have to look like one kind of person. I will say, and I mentioned this sort of a little bit, LOL, what am I saying? I mentioned somewhere in this conversation about like sometimes people think that like you won't see Black people in these kinds of books, but I'm Black, right? And so I, as a writer, wanted to write books where I'm like, no, we can show up. You can have Black characters live in this cozy, soft life and loving Jesus, and also trying to figure their lives out. Like, it's okay. We can do that too. And I wanted to be able to show that. And I love that there are so many authors doing that. They're showing up, from their walks of life with their faith and being like, yes, like, we love Jesus and we love love and we love to write about romance and watching couples come together and glorify God. So yeah, it's out there. It happens, y'all. And I'm excited to be able to be a part of that movement. So if you're interested in anything I just said, make sure that you check out my books. Ceaselessly Yours is already out on Amazon. And Ardently Yours is coming your way soon. It will also be out on Amazon. Make sure that you're following me at MyLeah's Cuppa Books on all my socials, okay? Make sure you sign up for my email list as well. I don't want you to miss when I'm releasing books because, again, if you like all the books that I'm talking about and this kind of stuff, you're going to love my cozy, clean Black romance books. So stay tuned. All my links will always be in the description box, in the show notes, and also in like my little bio area. Yeah, you'll find all the info there. Stay tuned. As I get ready to wrap this video up, I do want to talk a little bit more about, as a Christian, if you are a Christian, just reflecting to you, encouraging you, if you're somebody who's like, hey, I am trying on this faith walk to read better books, I'm trying to do better, and you're just like, you're watching this video, you're joining this community because you're like, God, I'm trying to do better. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to honestly, again, leave this video feeling encouraged and feeling like, you know what, I can do this. I can pick up books and still like read and love Jesus, and I can also be able to share recommendations with people and know what I'm looking for when I'm looking for books and when I'm talking about books and being confident in that. I want you just to keep in mind, like, for instance, when I feel like some people may feel a certain kind of way about clean books and be like, why are you reading clean books? Like, that's dumb. Because again, going back to sort of where we started in this video, a lot of popular books are not clean, and a lot of popular shows are not clean. A lot of popular just content out there is just not clean, right? It's not really servicing certain values that we may have. And again, a lot of people are not in a faith walk, they're not committed to Jesus or Christian. And so you have a lot of people out there that are not necessarily doing what we're doing or thinking the way that we're thinking. And I'm not here to be like shaming everybody. That's not what we're doing. But I'm saying for us, especially, like, again, if you're like me, if you're a Christian, you believe in Jesus, okay, and you are somebody who's like, hey, trying to do better, trying to read cleaner books, I do want to encourage you as well. As I was preparing for this video, one verse that I thought about, and I'm pulling it up on my laptop that is right in front of me, is just like an encouragement to you. Like, why do we do this? Like, why do we try to do better with the content we're consuming, with what we're reading? Why are we trying to be clean readers? And I think that this is a verse that encourages me, and I hope that it encourages you. It is Philippians 4:8, and I am reading it in the CSB, Christian Standard Bible Version, and it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any moral excellence, and if there is anything praiseworthy, dwell on these things. Amen. The reason why I share this verse and why I think this verse is super important is not to shame you or to be like, you're doing it wrong or anything like that, but really it is to encourage you to say, hey, we're in this together. I think God, he gives us these verses like this for a reason, and we can apply them to our lives, okay, even to reading. And I think for me personally, when I think about this verse in terms of like reading and the content that I'm consuming, is I'm doing my best to do a better job at how I'm looking at stuff. Like, what books am I picking up? What am I watching? What am I consuming? Because I want to make sure what I'm thinking about is giving glory to God. If I'm made to be holy, and be like God because he's holy, because he calls us to be holy. Be holy because I am holy, or be holy because for I am holy. Amen. Quoting more Bible verses here. But if God is calling us to be holy and calling us to think a certain way and keep our mind on certain things, then why shouldn't I incorporate that into, okay, well, instead of reading a super spicy book or a book that has a lot of explicit things going on in them that is definitely like not what I believe, maybe I should actually choose something different. And thank God that there are choices. And again, those choices are growing. You have authors like me out there who are working to be like, yes, I want to provide you with better content that doesn't feel cheesy or preachy. And so, yeah, all that to say is keep this in mind. Keep this verse as something that you come back to and that encourages you to know that, hey, that you can make these small choices to be able to be a clean reader and to keep your faith on your mind in consideration for how you're reading. You can do it. If I can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. And I believe that we're supposed to be able to enjoy these things. We're supposed to be able to enjoy books and, like be like, oh my gosh, that was so cute. Like God gives us so many good things to enjoy. And I think that reading is one of those. So let's do it with intention. Let's do it with our faith on our heart, and let's do it in a way that glorifies God. And we can do that together. Let me know down below in the comments what clean reading means to you. And this is not a way to shame you or to shame anybody else. We're just sharing because I think that I hope that what you've gotten from this video, that, it helped you to better shape how you view clean reading or how you want to view clean reading. And I want you to be able to share with others as well what you're thinking and any tips that you have as well for being a clean reader, because we're all trying to learn out here in these streets. Okay, so help us by commenting that down below, and also make sure that you join my email list. I created a clean guide because I've been talking about all these tips and I want you to get something tangible. Yes, watch the video and come back and subscribe and like and all the things and comment below, but I also have a freebie for you so that you can be able to use this on your journey when you're going to the library, going to the bookstore, or you're book shopping online and you're trying to figure out like, what should I read? How should I look for books? How should I consider, if this is clean or not? It is a free guide for you, for all of us clean readers. I hope that you love it. I hope that it encourages you. I hope that it helps you to grow as a clean reader and as somebody who loves Jesus and loves books. But with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget again to follow me at MyLeah's Cuppa Books here and on all of my socials, and to sign up for my free email list and to check out my books. But I can't wait to chat with you in the comments. So until next time, thanks so much. Love you. Bye.